Hey everybody, it's Tuesday and that means I'm on Tumblr answering your questions. So if you had a question, you asked it to me in my inbox using the hashtag KatieFAQ, or you're like, hey Katie, my question is for Tumblr Tuesday and I'm answering them for you. So I'm still a little stuffed up, so if I sound a little nasal, that's why. But I'm feeling better, so that's good. Just having to kind of relax and drink tea and hopefully I will decongest. So, without further ado, because I have lots of questions to get through today, question number 1, is it really necessary for my former therapist to talk to my new therapist? I just moved and had to switch therapists. I mean, yes. And I'm saying yes because as a therapist, I would really want to talk to your old therapist to save you time from having to retell me everything. If you didn't like your old therapist and you feel like the things that she would share wouldn't be helpful, then in that case, it's obviously at your discretion. It's your confidentiality and you can sign or not sign those papers. So I would think about it from that viewpoint. If you think it's helpful and it can save you time from having to repeat yourself, because that way your therapist knows names of your family members, how school's going, and a rough idea of where you're at, then you won't have to repeat it. Okay? I personally, just to give you a little insight, I always sign that. So that's just me though. Okay, question number 2. Can someone go through CBT multiple times due to switching therapists, or moving? Is that normal? And this is obviously because my video from yesterday was about CBT, because many of you wanted me to talk a little bit about it. And yes, you can go through it multiple times. And like I'd said in the video and just in general, CBT is a very short treatment and a lot of times it's very focused. So let's say I'm in CBT because I have some OCD-like tendencies and I tend to wash my hands a lot or turn things on and off a certain number of times, and I'm working to diminish that. You could later say, I find that I have a lot of negative thoughts and it's causing my depression and I really want to work on that. And you can go in for different things all the time. That's why it's short term. It's actually meant to focus on one kind of core issue and help you out with that. Help change your thoughts about it so that it changes your behavior. Okay, question number 3, and this one's kind of long, but I wanted to read it all because otherwise it was hard for me to, squash it. Hi, Katie. What advice would you have for someone who's been eating healthy during the day without restrictions? So if I want something unhealthy, I'll just have a little or whatever I crave, right? I get up in the middle of the night, usually asleep or even awake, but not in any kind of control of my actions, and I eat a bunch of unhealthy food. Sometimes I'll grab a fruit, other times I don't. I don't think I have an eating disorder at all. I'm not even sure if it's actually considered a binge. I've tried putting an apple next to my bed or eating a protein bar before I go to bed. It works sometimes, but not always. It's been happening for a year now and I've gained so much weight. I wake up wanting to just starve myself, but I know that will get me nowhere. But I hate myself for doing this. I'm seeing a doctor next week, but I just wanted your opinion. Thank you so much. I love your videos. I actually want to just talk about this because I've had clients who've struggled with this as well, and oddly enough, even a family member of one of my clients who's been doing this, and there are a couple things. Number 1, it can be a side effect to your medication. There are some antidepressants, antipsychotics that can cause nighttime hunger, nighttime binging, and we can do it in our sleep. And if we're sleepwalkers already, I find some of my clients find themselves more predisposed to this. So I would ask your doctor about that. I would check in about your medications. If that's not the case, I would talk to them and I would either consider having your parents lock the fridge, because if we're asleep and we're not really in control, oftentimes we can't figure out why it won't open and we get tired and we go back to bed. That worked for the parent of one of my clients. They actually, one of them kept the key away. He didn't know where the key was. And so, he'd go to the fridge and it was locked, which a lot of fridges are actually set to be locked. So you can look into that. That's another option. But I would talk to your doctor about medication. I would also check in with yourself before you go to bed. Like you said, sometimes it works to eat a protein bar before you go to bed. But check into your hunger and fullness cues. And my guess is that it's something else. It's definitely something medical. And another random last resort that the father that I'm talking about, the parent of one of my clients, really helped him was actually hypnotherapy. Now, I am not a hypnotherapist, but oftentimes those uncontrolled hunger not even hunger, I guess, uncontrolled eating, because we don't even know if we're hungry, can actually come from, they believe, part of our subconscious, and they can talk you through that and help you work through it. So those would be the things that I've known to work. Obviously, I am not a specialist, so I would definitely ask your doctor, and let us know, actually. If any of you have dealt with this and you have feedback, please let us know. And for the person who asked this question, if you can let me know and I can share it, or if you don't mind commenting below and letting us know, so that we can keep learning, right? Because I don't know everything. I just know what I've worked with and what I've seen and what I've been trained to do. Okay, question number 4. Should someone vocalize their eating disorder thoughts to their therapist? Why or why not? I definitely would. And the reason being is because as a therapist, it gives us more information on how your eating disorder works. And for me, I feel like it gives me more ammunition when we go in to fight it. I know better how it talks to you, and we'll kind of know how to talk back to it. And I can even offer some better ideas for what types of distraction techniques to use. Okay? So I would definitely do that. Question number 5. Is it bad to get into a relationship when you're still struggling with an eating disorder or self-harm, etc.? I wouldn't use the term bad. I urge my clients not to start a relationship until they're in recovery. That is if I see them and they don't have a relationship yet. But like the person who asked this question, we often find ourselves not wanting to let them in. And when we don't want to let them in and it's starting to get serious, it creates this, it doesn't create much trust, right? Because our eating disorders and our self-harm and even depression, we can get embarrassed, and so we lie, right? And they lie. And a lot of eating disorder self-harm stuff is all based around lying and being secretive and making sure nobody catches you and knows where all your stash of stuff is or whatever. And so for me, I don't think that's a very healthy start to a relationship. And also, as a ground rule for any relationship, regardless of whether we're struggling or not, if we're not loving ourselves and we're not taking care of ourselves, we can't love someone else, because we have to be loving on ourselves first. Okay, so maybe take some time for yourself. Maybe take a break from this person. Just say, I'm working on myself right now. I care about you a lot, and I want this to work, and that's why I've decided that I'm going to take a little bit of a break. I mean, they'll probably be upset, because everybody gets upset when we say things like that, but at this point, we kind of have to focus on ourselves, Excuse me. Okay, question number 6. Are anxiety meds the same as depression meds? Like, do you need to take them for a few weeks to see if they work, or are anxiety meds only something you take occasionally? Now, anxiety meds can be the same as depression meds. They'll use them interchangeably, and those will be like our SSRIs and our SNRIs. And those are kind of what we lump as antidepressants. So like your Prozac, your Zoloft, your Wellbutrin, your Effexor, your Celexa. I mean, there's so many out there, right? But those can also be used for anxiety. However, there are anxiety meds that are only used occasionally, like a Xanax, or I'm trying to think of another one. But Xanax is the most common. And that's because those are, I believe it's a benzo, a Xanax is, which means it can be really highly addictive. We need to be very careful how often we use those, and only use them as necessary. But I would ask your doctor more questions about your medication. Like I said, always ask more questions. Ask about the side effect profile. Ask about how long it will take for them to work. I know that all the SSRIs and SNRIs take about 4 to 6, sometimes 8 weeks before we'll know if they're going to work or not. But Xanax takes like 30 minutes. And that's why sometimes when we struggle with extreme anxiety, if we have generalized anxiety disorder, if we have panic disorder, Xanax will be one of those things that can definitely help us. Okay? Now, for my journal topic today, I'm actually going to read you a quick little story, because I like these little moral of the stories. So this is called Let Go of Your Stresses. A psychologist walked around a room while teaching stress management to an audience. As she raised a glass of water, everyone expected that they'd be asked, is it half empty or is it half full? Instead, with a smile on her face, she inquired, how heavy is this glass of water? Answers people raised their hand and shouted out, anything from 8 ounces to 20 ounces, it's a half a pound. She replied, the absolute weight doesn't matter. It depends on how long I hold it. I hold it for a minute, it's no problem at all. If I hold it for an hour, I may have an ache in my arm. If I hold it for a day, my arm will feel numb and paralyzed. In each case, the weight of the glass doesn't change, but the longer I hold it, the heavier it becomes. She continued, the stresses and worries in life are like that glass of water. Think about them for a while, nothing happens. Think about them a bit longer, and they actually begin to hurt. And if you think about them all day long, you'll feel paralyzed, incapable of doing anything. It's important to remember to let go of your stresses as early in the evening as you can. Put all of your burdens down. Don't carry them through the evening and into the night. Remember to put the glass down. And I want each of you tonight before you go to bed, or if you're seeing this in the morning, the next night before you go to bed, write down the things that you're stressing about and leave them there. And sometimes it helps me to write down, let's say it's work-life balance. How do I balance both? And I'll say, carve out time with Sean this week for a date. And that I will leave that there. So I would encourage you, and if it gets overwhelming, just pick 4. Pick 4 stressors that you're going to leave, and we're going to let go of those glasses and we're going to put them down. Okay? I hope that helps. I will see you all tomorrow because tomorrow is Wednesday, and I will be on the website under community forums. Katie, I think it's video Q&A, and I will also be on YouTube. So answer your questions below, or my video from yesterday, my CBT video. I'll check those for the questions as well as my inbox. Make sure you say Katie FAQ. Hey, Katie, here's my question, stuff like that. I'll see y'all then. Have a good one. Bye.